There's a new way for people to save their money. Apple Card is now offering a high-yield savings account with backing from Goldman Sachs. For more on the announcement and if people should take advantage of it, we're joined by CEO of IRC Wealth, friend of the program, David Ragland, for more on this. And David, good to see you. All right, David, this is, I think, somewhat of a surprise to many who are watching. Tell us more, though, about this new savings account from Apple. Is this, I guess, the way of the future?
I guess it is the Big Apple announcement. And I think you can use this card, obviously, in the Big Apple. I'm very excited about it. Wow, you can have an Apple credit card with no fees and cash back. And now you can link it to a savings account where you can earn 4.125%. I think that's fantastic for the average person that's trying to move forward into the future and use what's referred to as a digital wallet. So you can have an Apple phone, you can have a credit card payment system on it, and you can also have a savings account linked to Goldman Sachs or backed by Goldman Sachs. So you do have FDIC insurance. So I think it's a great move for the company and for the consumer.
Okay, David, so Goldman Sachs is backing this with Apple in conjunction. What are Goldman Sachs's competitors thinking? I'm thinking Wells Fargo, Chase, Bank of America. Were they caught kind of back on their heels? Do they need to get into this game here?
Well, I think the digital wallet is really kind of the future. And so that's really where I think Goldman Sachs, through their Marcus unit, really took a big step forward. I think the Apple Pay was slowly rolling out, but I think by having the credit card linked to the savings account, so your cash back coming from the credit card is automatically going to go into a savings account. You can't write a check off the savings account. You have to move the money from the savings account into a checking account to actually make a payment. But I think trying to make it seamless is a fantastic first step. And sure, I am sure that the likes of Citi and JP Morgan are saying, kind of scratching their head and saying, how do I really get into this game of having the phone attached to the credit card, attached to the savings account? Yeah. Really looks very seamless for me.
Okay, so David, if your clients are coming to you, they're sitting in front of you, and they ask about this, are you going to tell them to get it?
Well, you have two different types of people. The people who want cash back, cash back, cash back, they're going to go with a credit card that does that, and so it makes an easy solution from the savings side. However, there's the other side of the credit consumer that says, give me my miles. I'm a Delta Sky Miles card holder as well. So when I make a purchase, my purchases are helping me earn frequent flyer miles. So I think you got two different camps of people, but the people who are looking for cash back, no fee credit card, I think this is a great option because, again, you can have up to $250,000 in this savings vehicle, earns a high rate of return, and there's no fees associated. There's no normal credit card fees associated with it. So I'm a big backer of it at this point.
So, David, what about that high interest rate of return, though? Is that unusual? Should that maybe, have customers be forewarned about that? What do you make of that?
Well, you got kind of a range that's out there right now. You've got anywhere from 3.5 to 4.75. So they're not at the top end of the range. So I think they're trying to thread the needle right in the middle of the range from that standpoint. So I don't think it's arbitrarily high. And remember, it's based upon a 7-day average. So the rate could come down. As we know, short-term interest rates have been moved up by the Fed. So if they move interest rates back down, expect that savings rate to go down commensurate with it.
Yeah. So obviously this is very non-traditional. What are the differences, though? Obviously it's backed by a major tech company. It's on your phone. It's digital. What are the main differences, though, between this and say, just your regular old savings account with, Chase, Bank of America, what have you?
Well, I think it's two different stories. The regular savings account at Chase or Wells, they're still paying low rates of return. You've really got to go after the money market accounts, the online accounts that are really starting to pay a higher rates of interest, the higher money market accounts at some of your credit unions that are out there. So this is different in that most banks are slow to raise the interest that they're actually paying on their traditional savings accounts. So I think this is a splashy big move to get money that's already fleeing those accounts right now. We saw the banking crisis a few weeks ago really was driven by, money leaving traditional regional banks that were paying 1% and 2% to go into higher earning rates, whether it's a money market account, U.S. Treasury bills that were up there paying double or triple what you could get in an ordinary savings account. For me, I think that this is a big move by both Goldman as well as Apple.
Yeah. And David, just lastly, though, obviously banks are also in the money-making business. They have customers. They want to get people to sign up for their savings accounts. But now there will be, more people in that market, including tech companies, major tech companies. Are we expecting any more major tech companies to follow suit? Will this market soon be pretty saturated?
I think there's still a lot to come from the tech companies when it comes to finance. They're really trying to get into this area. I mean, Apple really looks at that service unit where the phone charges plus the music charges, now the credit card charges that they're getting. So all of the tech companies are trying to focus on this recurring revenue cycle that's out there. So expect more from the tech companies getting into those everyday payments. They're really the people that should be worried at this point would be Visa, MasterCard, American Express. Because that's really the person that's Apple is really trying to take share from those companies, those everyday purchases that Visa and MasterCard and American Express are making their fees off of. Those fees are now being transferred. And I'm sure there's some profit sharing arrangement between Goldman Sachs and Apple. I think the savings rollout, this big savings account rollout, is to go to people like David Ragland and go, hey, I don't have an Apple card right now. Maybe I should get an Apple card because I can have a big savings account. Whether I use that account or not, what they're really trying to do is say, hey, how do I get more of those charges to run through my Apple branded card so Apple gets even more fees? And who do you trust more than Apple at this point?
Yeah. Well, the market share, it seems, is in contention. David Ragland, thanks so much for breaking it all down. Talk again.
Great to be with you.